The part of your tale that you wish had never been written is the most beautiful, light-bearer. If you could, you would erase that season. When someone gets close enough to see your scar, you hide it. That sounds incorrect, I know, because you have spent so much time seeing that chapter as damage, as proof that something went wrong forever, and as the aspect of your past that disqualifies you from the kind of wholeness that other people appear to carry with such ease. I know that everything inside of you rejects that thought. However, once you allow this reality to get deeply ingrained in your understanding, it will transform everything. The strongest light is about to emerge right where you shattered. My design is not flawed by the crack you conceal. I've been getting ready for this opening, the exact spot where repair will arrive with a power and beauty that would never have been possible for an unbroken surface. I'm talking about a restoration, not a patch job. This is not the type of love that covers up broken things with something more attractive in the hopes that no one will see the damage beneath. That is not how I operate. Wounds are not covered by my affection, they are healed by it. The gaps are not filled in by my affection. It enriches, revitalizes and changes them until they become the most exquisite aspect of the narrative. When I repair something that was damaged, it reappears stronger and more radiant than before. For the harm to be more significant, valuable, and alive than anything you could have retained in its original state. And despite how expensive it seemed, the process that led to that change becomes a part of the beauty rather than a shade over it. Perhaps longer than you have acknowledged to yourself, you have been carrying a tremendous burden for a considerable amount of time. You've reached a point in your heart where you no longer hope for improvement. Hope put down its baggage in a quiet spot and muttered that it was exhausted, and that perhaps this was just how things will be. You've been working, you've continued to move, you've shown up for your days, completed the tasks at hand and grinned when necessary. However, there has been an unhealed wound deep within, beneath the surface of all that determined life. A relationship that broke down and never fully recovered to its former state. You buried the dream because it was too hard to wait any longer. A broken trust, the lack of which created a void where confidence once resided. You've been handling these issues, not quite discussing them, and handling them with a certain stoicism that those around you might not even be aware of. And I want to talk about all of it today. I want you to know that I have witnessed every aspect of that. There is a warmth in my gaze that words cannot express. On the day it shattered, I observed you. Every time a conversation went awry, I was there. Each quiet that became intolerable. Every second that the things you had dreamed for became more elusive. I wasn't missing. I wasn't far away. I wasn't observing from a distance. Listing your shortcomings as you wait to be blessed by a superior applicant. I was there for you in the same way a father is when his child falls hard. The manner in which a mother remains close when illness strikes at any time. Being in the moment, paying attention, and completely focused on the particular location of your discomfort. I was grieving with you, but I also knew that this was not the end of your tale, with a conviction that went beyond what you could perceive. And this is what I would like to give you right now, during this exchange between our hearts. I want to give you something that will be in your hands tomorrow, the following season, and every season after that. Something more substantial than a fleeting comfort, more resilient than an emotion. I want to provide you with true understanding, the type that transforms your perspective on things, comprehension of a love that is so unrelenting, all-encompassing, and full of purpose, that once it reaches a damaged object, it cannot remain broken. The very essence of my love starts to work at healing when it touches a broken relationship. A dream that was left in a drawer somewhere is stirred when my love finds it. A person who has given up on themselves gently and tenderly starts to recall who they are when my love finds them. I'm giving you this kind of love, not in an abstract way, not as a theological idea to store in the area of your brain that stores knowledge without using it. I am presenting it to you at now moment in the precise location of your real life, complete with its true history, textures, and wounds. You are the object of this adoration. The you who is currently reading this. It's you who has been bearing the burden. You are the one who has been secretly hoping that something might change while simultaneously worrying that it might not. That version of you is the target of this affection. It doesn't wait for you to recover before coming. It's here already. It's here already. It only comes down to your willingness to accept it. For a time, allow me to transport you somewhere. Shut down the mental chatter and accompany me back to a familiar location. A location you've been to numerous times in your recollection, filled with both anguish and longing. Imagine how it felt before something broke, before the disappointment sank in, before the distance grew. Prior to the loss, something whole was present, something you cherished, something significant, something that warmed your chest and symbolized life to you, simply by considering it. You recall the quality of that, the particular texture of hope that pervaded it, and the conviction that everything was as it was supposed to be. You recall the sensation of falling asleep during a season when the object was undamaged, and the contrast between that experience and sleeping during the subsequent season. And you can vividly recall the exact moment when everything changed, whether it was a gradual deterioration or an abrupt rupture. You keep hearing the stillness and replaying the talk, the day that signaled the beginning and end of an important phase in your life, the particular loss of a loved one. Now pay close attention to what I say. You are holding that recollection of fullness, that feeling of what it was like before it broke. That isn't a memorial to the irreversibly lost. That recollection serves as a forecast for what will return. I let you experience goodness so you would know when it would return. In order for you to comprehend the scope of what I am rebuilding, I let you experience intense love. The pain you get upon recalling is not cruelty. It's precision. Your heart is aware of its purpose and never forgets it. Additionally, it won't accept anything less indefinitely. The love at the core of the recollection was genuine, as evidenced by the fact that it still evokes strong emotions in you. Furthermore, true love never fades. It awaits the circumstances that will let it to return. The strongest force in the world is my love. That is not an unexamined spiritual platitude that has been passed down through tradition. It is a structural fact of the universe that I created. Love was before matter, before the stars were positioned, before the dry land emerged and the deep waters has gathered, before any of the established order existed as it does today. The initial creative force was my love. It is the material from which all excellent things were created. This implies that devoting my affection to something that has been damaged is like applying the original creative power to a restoration project. And my love produces wonderful things, fully with a thoroughness that extends all the way down to the root, continuing until the thing's deepest foundations are sound, rather than stopping at the surface presentation. Take a moment to reflect on your understanding of how things develop. A tree that has withstood a truly violent storm that challenged the depth of its root system, bent it and stripped it of its leaves, as a root system that has grown deeper and more intricate since the storm. Yes, the gash in the wood heals over, but behind that repaired surface, the tree has responded to the testing by becoming stronger, sending roots deeper and strengthening the connections that were strained. In fact, the storm that appeared to be intended to kill it created a tree that was more resilient than the one that existed prior to the wind. If you were to look at the rings in that tree's wood, you could plainly see the year of the storm, not as a sign of harm, but as a sign of transformation, the year the tree changed from what it had been. I am doing exactly this to you. Your narrative does not end with the storms you have experienced. The years of your deepening are represented by these rings in the wood. And compared to the tree that was there before the wind arrived, the tree that is standing in the wake of those storms is more rooted, more resilient, and really capable of providing shade and protection to those around it. The things that went wrong in your life, the relationships that broke down under duress, the dreams that failed, the trust that was betrayed, the faith that faltered, and the person you believed yourself to be before life muddied that picture. Love is processing all of these things with such thoroughness and intelligence that it knows precisely where to apply itself. The suffering you have endured is not wasted by my affection. It makes advantage of it. With the skill of a craftsman, it takes the raw material of your sorrow and turns it into the basis for something that could not have been constructed in any other manner. The unique suffering of what your life has been is necessary for the unique beauty of what it is becoming, as an issue of building rather than punishment. The expense is necessary for the depth. Perfect conditions are not necessary for the home that love creates. A house that is built on a solid foundation is not one that has never been put to the test. It is the house that was put to the test, exposed its weaknesses, had to be rebuilt and strengthened, and now has a history of surviving what it did. People who have been broken and rebuilt, relationships that have been tried and survived, and trust that has been destroyed and painstakingly rebuilt into something that now has a history of durability etched into every joint and every wall, make up the home that love makes. Only those who have experienced true hunger may truly appreciate the riches on the table at this house. This house's warmth comes from flames that were kept going during storms that were supposed to put them out. Because it comes from people who understand the difficulty of getting to this table and who do not take its abundance lightly. The laughter in this family has a depth that superficial ease will never provide. This home's sense of belonging is powerful, thankful, and unique in a way that was never in danger. I am constructing this house for your life, not the spotless, unspoiled house of a person who has never experienced hardship. A place like that is lovely but delicate. I've tested what I'm constructing. Every joint has been put under strain. Each wall has demonstrated its worth. By remaining in this house when it would have been simple to go, the love that resides there has earned its permanence. Because love persisted even when the fire was at its worst. Love continued to function even when the distance was at its greatest. Love kept its candle burning when the darkness was at its deepest. Because love persisted even when the fire was at its worst. Love continued to function even when the distance was at its greatest. Love kept its flame blazing while the darkness was at its deepest. I thus want you to change the way you are handling everything. I want you to start viewing the broken areas in your life in a different way, rather than as proof of your failure or that there is a permanent problem with you or the things you cherished. My love is most actively at work in those shattered places. The entry points are the fissures. The restoration is concentrated in the areas that have been broken. The addresses where the healer is particularly present are the wounds. You are not residing in the ruins of the past. You live on the site of what is being built. And the most skilled constructor in the universe is in charge of the actual construction that is taking place. Restoring love is not a sign of weakness. Some of you have been misled into believing that love is passive and gentle, so I need you to strongly believe that. Something that doesn't alter and accepts everything. And if these words reached something deep in you, type Amen in the comments to receive this blessing. Share with someone who loves you and subscribe to this channel to find more messages. Your faith is important. When the community comes together to be told that they are loved, it creates something genuine. From the heart of the love that makes everything right, we will see you soon with another message.